Welcome to Understand the Math. In this problem, we're given a transformation T, and we're told that it is a linear transformation from R2 to R2, and we're asked to show that T is invertible, and then find a formula for T inverse. I've written down some things here that will help us. T of x is equal to A times x. So any transformation that is linear can be written as a matrix A times a vector x. And then our formula for T inverse is A inverse times x. Our strategy to solve this problem is going to be to complete these three steps. The first thing we're going to have to do is look at our transformation and find matrix A. Then we're going to find our matrix A inverse. And then we're going to use our formula and we're going to compute T inverse of x by multiplying A inverse times x. Let's go ahead and start with our first step. So our first step is to find matrix A. So the easiest way to do this is to take our transformation and write it as a vector. So this is T of x1, x2. And then notice up here in our transformation, do you see that we have 1 comma? When you have a transformation written like this, the comma separates each row of the transformation. So our transformation is going to have 2 rows. So we'll put our bracket like this. The first row is 2x1 minus 5x2. And then the second row is minus 2x1 plus 9x2. Now we're in a format where we can go ahead and break this down into A times x. So our matrix A is just our coefficients right there. So this is 2 minus 5 minus 2 and 9. And we multiply this by x1 and x2. So we did all this so that we can find our matrix A, and there it is. Our second step is to find our matrix A inverse. So what we do for this is we take 1 and we divide it by the determinant of A. So the determinant of A is the main diagonal multiplied, that's 18, minus our off diagonal multiplied, and that's a minus 5 times a minus 2, so that's a 10. So we have 18 minus 10. And then our matrix, what's going to happen is on our main diagonal, which I highlighted in blue, our entries get flipped. So this is a 9 and a 2. And then our off diagonal, which I highlighted in pink, those entries stay in the same position, but they get a negative. So this becomes a 5 and a 2. 18 minus 10 is 8. So we're going to have to take every entry in this matrix and divide it by 8. So we get a 9 over 8, a 5 over 8, a 2 over 8. We'll worry about reducing that later. And then a 2 over 8. Now we can go ahead and move on to our third step. So our third step says that T inverse of x is equal to A inverse times x. So let's copy down our A inverse, and now we can go ahead and reduce things. So we have a 9 over 8, a 5 over 8, and then in our second row, we'll reduce that to 1/4 and 1/4. And we're going to multiply this by x1, x2. So to multiply this, we're going to take our first row and multiply it by x1, x2. So we get a 9 over 8 x1 plus a 5 over 8 x2. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our second row and multiply it by x1, x2. And that's going to give us a 1/4 x1 plus 1/4 x2. One practice I think that's really good to do is to put your answer in the same form that was given in the original problem. So let's go back up and look here. Do you see how our transformation is written horizontally? That's the way I'm going to go ahead and write our answer. So we're going to say that T inverse of x1, x2, our first row, which is 9 over 8 x1 plus 5 over 8 x2, and then each row gets separated by a comma, so I put a comma there, and then our second row we can write down as 1/4 x1 plus 1/4 x2. And that's our final answer.
If this video has been helpful to you, please consider subscribing to my channel. Keep believing in yourself and have a great rest of your day.